Well, folks, thanks to the dark and dumb thumb of Joe Biden and the Democrats, America suffered yet again another disastrous week. Out of control inflation, surging fuel prices, and an almost certain military engagement in Eastern Europe. The worst may just be beginning. But sit back. I got the skinny. I'm Eric Wright, and you're listening to the Closet Conservative Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, take a huge look around. I tell you, those Biden supporters are as scarce as a winning lottery ticket. According to the Pew Research this week, just 41% of adult Americans approve of Biden's job performance as president. But that isn't the worst of it. For as Biden continues to lose confidence from traditional Democrat demographics like African Americans, who just 1/3 of them disapprove of his handling of everything. When Biden took office, he held a 92% favorable rating among Christian blacks. Now, that number is 65%. Folks, the reason for these dismal numbers is quite apparent. Joe Biden's lack of leadership, national and global understanding, and his continued willingness to disregard reality is killing our country, our economy, our security, and our everyday way of life. Due to out of control liberal spending, inflation is the highest it's been in 40 years. And this week, according to the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, the consumer price index increased over 7.5% from when Trump left office, with no apparent end in sight. And what's worse is that due to Biden's executive orders that closed down the Keystone XL pipeline and threatens to shut down many more as the exploration of alternative liberal fuel fantasies run rampant, America's dependency on foreign oil has never been higher. And now, you add into the mix an ex-KGB officer and a megalomaniac in Russian President Vladimir Putin, who is staging a full-scale invasion of Ukraine, which will undoubtedly send crude oil prices near $150 a barrel. Or, in your sense, $5 plus a gallon at your local pump. Folks, under Joe Biden, the U.S. now imports between 70 to 80% of all oil, with 530,000 barrels a day coming from, yep, you guessed it, Russia. And before Biden shut down, the Keystone pipeline produced over 500,000 barrels daily. So, the domestic product that would have kept our national security and fuel prices lower and saved over 11,000 American jobs went to the benefit of Russia, and now into the hands of Putin, who's going to be using those funds generated to attack and possibly kill our allies in Ukraine. Ladies and gentlemen, you can't make this stuff up. This is what's happening right now. And where's our great leader, Joe Biden? Again, hiding and holding out into the confines of Camp David. Sound familiar? When our countrymen and women and longtime allies in Afghanistan were threatened, hunted down, and killed, where was Joe Biden? That's right, in the bunkers and basements of Camp David. Folks, our president is a spineless sheep. Vladimir Putin knows this and will use this against him and the rest of the world to get what he wants. As conflicting reports continue to come in, one thing is for sure, Russia did not stage 130,000 troops in tanks and rockets and planes on the Ukrainian border for a photo op. On Friday, the Biden administration announced that all Americans in Ukraine needed to leave the country within 24 to 48 hours because, wait for it, the United States would not be sending in any military personnel to save them. Are you kidding me? Joe Biden told the world, but especially Vladimir Putin, that if you attack our allies or endanger our people, the United States is not coming to their rescue. The messages and remarks are nothing but continued show of weakness, and on a global scale, will doom the security and resolve of the United States around the world. Afghanistan was a perfect American performance of just how weak Joe Biden and today's liberals have made our country. We ran from that country, our tails tucked, our flag lowered by our enemy, and practically begged the Taliban not to hurt us. And for Putin and others like Iran, who reported this week that they are just weeks away from enough material to build their first atomic bomb, they see the Democrat disaster upon America. And they will use this to rape us and our interests across the globe. But if you want another example, try this. While Putin was staging his army on the border of Ukraine and holding military exercises in Belarus, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin stated that the U.S. military must go green in using electric vehicles and have net zero emission by the year 2050. Folks, our greatest ally in Eastern Europe is being threatened. Iran is building an atomic bomb. North Korea is continuing to fire rockets and threaten Japan and South Korea. Inflation is killing our economy. Fuel prices are skyrocketing, and our clown and clueless wannabe president and his fellow minions are worried about the carbon footprint of our military equipment. I don't even know what you say to such stupidity, other than, folks, you better prepare yourselves. There is no Build Back Better plan. No, under Joe Biden, you will be busted up, bruised, and left bleeding. America's neighborhoods, states, country, and stance in the world will never be the same again. And you see, when America falls, folks, the world falls with it. And for some of you listening today, you may think, oh, Eric, you're blowing this out of proportion. There is nothing more going on than traditional Republican and conservative fear-mongering. Aha! And that's where the delusion lies, folks. You see, Ronald Reagan was a political genius. He warned of wars and spent a great deal of America's GDP on defense, but there was a reason for that. After the United States exited the Vietnam War, most Americans didn't want to fight in another global conflict. Reagan gave the people what they wanted. During his presidency, the United States was involved in just 2 military operations, about 20 minutes in Grenada. Actually, it was more like 2 days. And then we bombed Libya. That was it. But as the United States built its military might under Reagan, he and we commanded that countries like the Soviet Union make changes. Tear down that wall, Mr. Gorbachev. Because if you don't, you will have the unleashing of the strongest military ever to set foot upon the earth. Ronald Reagan was the ultimate hog, but he commanded respect and earned it through might. Donald Trump used the exact same tactics of Reagan to tell the world and those within it to look to cause harm to Americans or our allies, and hell will be unleashed upon you and your people. The world knew this. Vladimir Putin knew this under Trump. The Iranians knew this under Trump. Kim Jong-un knew this under Trump. Joe Biden is nothing like Donald Trump, and even further from the genius of Ronald Reagan. And by the end of 2024, 12 of the last 16 years would have been under a Democrat presidency. And America has never been weaker for it. Joe Biden has turned these United States into nothing more than a paper tiger of its former self. A nation of pride we once were. A country that said that we would not fight in global wars unless you danger our way of life, threaten our security, or harm our people or allies. And then if you do, we will leave you into a dusting of your former existence. This is the America we should strive to be. But under Joe Biden and the other clueless within his administration, America will be a nation of knee-pad-wearing nothings, begging the Putins of the world to take what they want, just don't hurt us. I don't know about you. Never really liked wearing knee pads. And I refuse to live in a country at the pleasure of this so-called president who demands that I wear them. You've been listening to the Closet Conservative Podcast.